Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Show on the Really True Sports Network. The NFL Show is brought to you by BetNow.eu. Make sure you check them out and use the promo code TRUTH100. I am your co-host for the NFL Show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in from the FF Face-Off, the real NFL guru, Anthony Cervino. How you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Hey, your phone works today, so you only got to be on for like 10 minutes.
I'm back at my desk. I have my the Skype on the computer working. I have my headset, my microphone. I'm fine. I'm back.
All right, so we're back, and the Cleveland Browns, are they back? Because they beat the New York Jets 23-3, and I still see issues with the Browns. The offensive line, I think, has issues, so I'm still not buying the Cleveland Browns. The Jets were going with a third-string quarterback, Luke Falk. What was your take on the game, Anthony?
I mean, Baker missed a lot of throws. He was getting pressured all game. The Cleveland offensive line doesn't look good after 2 games, and they were playing a Jets team that was down C.J. Mosley. I think if Mosley would have played, it wouldn't surprise me if the Jets could somehow pull that game off if they had their defensive pieces.
Well, and Quinnen Williams also, remember.
Yeah, him included.
So the thing that would concern me here, you talk about the offensive line play, is when you look, they only ran the ball 21 times for 70 yards. Nick Chubb's 18 carries, 62 yards, 3.4 yards per carry. If you can't run the ball, you're usually not going to go too far in the playoffs or even make the playoffs most years, Anthony.
I was never high on the Browns this offseason like the rest of the team was anyway. I actually initially had Pittsburgh winning the division, but that's not going to happen. I'm telling you, it's the Ravens, or maybe if your Bengals can somehow turn it around.
Oh, God, just stop. Just stop. That's just stupid. Did you watch the Bengals against the 49ers at all?
I think the Bengals have a better shot than Pittsburgh at this point.
Oh, I don't. I think Pittsburgh actually has a real chance, but we'll get to that in a minute. And when we look at the Jets, they ended up, Trevor Siemian got hurt early on, 3 for 6, 3 yards. Luke Falk, 20 for 25, 198 yards. Do you think this is something where, and the Jets' offensive line is not very good either, do the Jets go out and look for a quarterback? Or do you go with Luke Falk?
I mean, Falk came in and he had almost a similar game as Gardner Minshew in terms of completing passes, and this is a kid that was on a practice squad a couple days ago. If you're the Jets, why do you – I mean, are you even going to bother? Of course you need to replace Trevor Siemian if he's going to miss extended time, and Darnold is dealing with mono, so you need another quarterback, but I don't know if I'm going to go get a big-name guy. I'm going to try to wait it out for Darnold.
Yeah.
I mean, really, where are they going right now?
There are no big-name guys. What are you going to go? Brock Osweiler, Davis Webb, Cody Kessler, Sam Bradford, Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler would always come back. I know you're screaming Eli, and we'll get to that in a minute also. But what about Colin Kaepernick? There's a lot of jobs out there right now, and we're bringing up guys like Davis Webb.
Yet? I mean, aren't we done with that yet?
Well, he's still better than anybody available.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a job in the NFL, but it's not going to happen.
I know, and it's absolutely stupid, I think. I mean, you got a job on the line. I would go with Luke Falk. And, yes, Eli Manning would make sense. Plus, if the Giants trade him to the Jets, you're trading him to New York, but you're not even trading him to a team in the same conference. So, less likely to jump up and bite you in the ass. So, yeah, I would think Eli Manning makes a ton of sense. And if Mason Rudolph doesn't work out in Pittsburgh, Eli Manning makes sense there also. Or does he? Because the way I look at this, you got to find out about Mason Rudolph. I don't think if you're the Steelers that you trade for Eli Manning, because of the simple fact, if you need Eli Manning, you're probably 0-5 or 0-6 when you need him. What the hell is the point by then?
I kind of agree with you here. If you're Pittsburgh, you need to see if Mason Rudolph is your quarterback of the future, and this is the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, and I think it's possible with Mason Rudolph that Mason Rudolph could be the future. And the reason I say that Pittsburgh could still win this division, and they got a better chance at Cincinnati as this. They signed Minkah Fitzpatrick, which separates them from Cincinnati because it means they're still trying to figure out a way to get back in this. And I think Big Ben is done anyways. So I think right now, as opposed to a week ago, this may sound crazy, but I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are in better shape right now than they were a week ago going with an unknown Mason Rudolph. But now you've added Minkah Fitzpatrick, who could play safety or corner for the Pittsburgh Steelers and upgrade to secondary.
So you're banking on Pittsburgh to tighten up their defense a little bit, and hopefully Mason Rudolph can manage the game, make some plays, and keep the Steelers relevant.
Yeah, I think there's a better chance of that than the way they were going.
If you're the Steelers, why the hell are you giving up a first-round pick? It could possibly, if the season doesn't go the way it, or if it goes the way we think it could go,
I have an answer.
They could have a top 10 pick. What the hell is going on with that?
I have an answer. What if they think Mason Rudolph is the guy? And the fact that they traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick, then with Mason Rudolph, and they're giving up that number 1 pick, tells me that the Pittsburgh Steelers think Mason Rudolph is the guy, and I'm not real sure that he's not. We're about to find out, but you're taking a crapshoot in the NFL draft, too, if you're trying to get a quarterback. And right now, you just upgraded your 2 biggest positions, which you had an old Ben Roethlisberger. If Mason Rudolph, if you really think he's the guy, you bring in Minkah Fitzpatrick, this team should, by common sense, get better now.
I mean, we'll see. I need to see it before I believe it because the first 2 weeks have not looked good.
Yeah, and the quarterback was not Mason Rudolph. And Mason Rudolph actually played pretty well against Seattle and damn near brought him back to win that game.
Yeah, Vance McDonald, one of my favorite tight ends this year in fantasy, he scored twice. They need to get these playmaking receivers like Juju Smith-Schuster involved. He's having a quiet start to the year.
All right, so let's look at the Giants real quick. Eli Manning is now benched for Daniel Jones. Do you think this is a good move for the Giants?
I think it is the move that had to be made. I understand that, you want your rookie quarterback to kind of sit on the bench. It's not that same NFL in a lot of places anymore. You want to get your rookie quarterback in. You want to get the bumps out. You want him to get a feel for the game, see what you have in him. And then you have a player like Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard. You have some young pieces. And do you really want to wait until 2020 to get Daniel Jones on the field? Or do you want to get Daniel Jones on the field now so you could possibly compete in 2020 if he is halfway decent?
Yeah, and I think the way it's always been, whether people have done it or not, is I don't think you learn a whole hell of a lot from standing on a sideline and watching. It's completely different. You got to be used to the pace and the speed of the game. It's completely different from college football, no matter where you play at, even if you're playing at Alabama. The level of speed is unreal, and you've got to get used to that. And I think we've seen since the early 2000s, most teams do this. You can still get something for Eli, I think. And I think they do. If they can move him and get a decent draft pick, I think that's what you do right here because there's no turning back once you go with Daniel Jones over Eli Manning, I wouldn't think.
I mean, what are you going to get decent draft pick for Eli Manning?
Well, 5th
round. What do you think he's really going to get? 5th round?
5th, 6th. Unless you get a team that's desperate with a bad front office. You never know.
I guess.
What about Jacksonville? Everybody always brings it up because Coughlin's there, but you got Foles.
I mean, Foles will be back. The key to Eli Manning moving is his contract. He was owed a little over $23 million this year, and I believe it's all paid. I'm not sure how it works with trades, but it's going to cap a lot of teams if they have to trade for Eli Manning and pay $23 million. If they don't have to absorb a lot of that salary and somebody can make it work, hey, if you're the Steelers, maybe if you're the Saints, maybe you make a move.
Yeah, maybe the Saints.
Not so much the Saints. Not so much.
I think the
Brees
Saints
is going to be back.
Yeah, but he's
Hey, what
not going to
about
be
the
back for
Carolina
6 weeks.
Panthers? What about the Carolina Panthers?
What a Carolina Panthers, it's the same thing. The problem with Eli is this: unless you have a team that you think is playoff ready right now, why make the move for Eli Manning? And to me, the Carolina Panthers, you have a great running game, Christian McCaffrey. Your defense is all right, but the offensive line's not very good. So what's Eli Manning really going to be able to accomplish there?
What's Eli going to accomplish anywhere? I think Eli's done. He does, and he's looked done for the past couple of years.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that time was because there
Let's
was no
call it what it
offensive
is.
line. But after a while, when it's looked done for 3 or 4 years, stats wise, he was good last year. And I still think Eli Manning could be better than a lot of starters, but the starters he's better than are on teams that aren't very good. So there's no use to bring in a guy that's almost 40 years old who's only got another year left, anyways. Um, so I don't think Eli's the answer in Carolina, but Carolina, you have issues now because Cam Newton has looked terrible. They said he aggravated his foot injury in his last game, but he looked terrible before he aggravated the foot injury also. He looks like he's got shoulder issues. He has a lot of problems here. I mean, he's coming off an off-season shoulder surgery, and we got to start to question, Cam's, up around 30 years old now, correct? Is Cam on the downside?
I don't know if Cam's on the downside, but I think he could use some time off and get healthy.
Yeah, which is what I suggested last year. If he took a year off, I think everything would be fine. But you know how the NFL is. They're going to keep forcing him back until, you know, he's got nothing left anyways. So, let's see. What else we got, Anthony?
We can get into Jalen Ramsey a little bit.
Yeah, well, Jalen Ramsey is one to me that I think can tip the scales in the AFC and even things out with the Patriots if the Chiefs were to be able to make a trade for him.
Yeah, and the Chiefs are a team that could always use defensive help. We were talking about it off air. As good as the Chiefs are, they have a lot of holes, and it's not just on defense. If you watch the Chiefs game, they made all big plays, and that's really all the Chiefs do. They make big plays, which is all well and good, but they don't sustain drives. And when you can't sustain a drive, Pat Mahomes is on the field less. They need to be able to, not score so much in 2 and 3 minutes. They need to be able to slow the game down.
The Chiefs
and
need
control
to slow
the game.
down. See, I think
they need to control the game at times.
The Chiefs,
and that's going to hurt them when they play teams like New England.
But don't you think the Chiefs do control the game by playing at a high rate of speed? So, I mean, the thing is this, though. Teams like that usually do end up coming up short because it's a lot easier to slow a game down than it is to speed a game up. But I would think that defensively, to make this a better defense, they don't have to have a great defense. What they have to have is they need to have guys like Jalen Ramsey that can create turnovers. Because they're a defense, they don't have to be in the top 10 in anything but takeaways. If they're if they're in the top half of the league in takeaways, the Chiefs are almost unbeatable. And what I mean is, if you're going to play at a high rate of speed on offense, defense you need to be able to do the same thing, which means you go balls out, you're flying all over the place, and you're causing turnovers. Right now, they don't cause a whole lot of turnovers, and I think that's what bites them in the ass when you play at a high rate of speed on offense.
What would it take? I mean, do the Chiefs have the capital to trade for a guy like Jalen Ramsey? Because it's going to take an early pick. First or a second-round pick or multiple second-round picks. He's a 24-year-old marquee cornerback.
Well, if I'm the Dolphins, I don't take anything less than at least a number one, and I probably want a number one or the Dolphins, whoever, number one or number two. I meant the Jags, but I get screwed up because I'm looking at news as it pops across, and something just popped up about him in a Dolphins uniform. That's Minkah Fitzpatrick. But, yeah, Jalen Ramsey, I think if you're the Chiefs, though, and you're serious about competing with the Patriots, you have to, because what we've seen so far this year is the Patriots may have the best defense in the NFL. And once AB gets up and running full speed, they may have the best offense. And if they don't have the best offense, it's second best to the Chiefs. And the Chiefs' defense is nowhere in the top half of the league right now, I don't think.
No, no, I don't think so either.
So, what do you do? I mean, if you're Andy Reid and you want to be able to beat Bill Belichick, you got to have a defense because this Patriots team, I mean, in the past, the first couple Super Bowls they won it with defense. They ran the ball. They didn't make mistakes. The last few Super Bowls, they usually did it high scoring. Then last year, they won it with defense again. So this is a team that can be coached either way and win either way. I don't think we could say that about Andy Reid coach teams. They're usually, scoring a lot of points. Defense is usually not great. He had some good defenses in Philly, but nothing great. And I think in the end, the lack of defense is going to hurt them. Also with the Chiefs, LaShawn McCoy is banged up now. And even with LaShawn McCoy, I don't know that they have near the running game here because if you go in to play the Patriots and all you've got is the ability to throw the ball, I think you're looking at losing the game.
Well, the Chiefs have a tough game. I think this Sunday against Baltimore is going to be a test, not only for the Chiefs, but for the Baltimore Ravens, too, because they played Miami, who's the worst team in the league this year, and the Cardinals, who was the worst team in the league last year. And now they're going to get the Chiefs. And Lamar Jackson did go toe-to-toe with Pat Mahomes in 2018 on the Chiefs' end. Now you're going to face a legitimate defense. And I think it could spell a little bit of trouble because McCoy might not play. Damian Williams is also banged up. Rookie Darwin Thompson could see a few more touches. No Tyreek Hill. If the Baltimore Ravens take away those big plays over the top, will the Chiefs score points? Yeah. I know that's crazy to say.
It's not crazy to say because they are a quick strike team. I mean, I don't know why teams just don't come out and play a cover four and keep everybody in front of them. Force them to beat you short.
I mean, let's call it what they're kind of ridiculous. No Tyreek Hill. They take away Sammy Watkins, DeMarcus Robinson, and Mecole Hardman. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, that's what happens.
Somebody's got to take that away.
When everybody runs a 4.340. And a lot of that is almost impossible to take away nowadays just because of the way the rules are for defensive backs. I mean, you can't touch them at their 5 yards. You got to kind of let them run free. And when you guys that run that fast, and Andy Reid has been brilliant with the way he uses the motion, whether it's with Tyreek Hill or Hardeman, he gets the mismatches he wants because he basically imposes his will on your defense that way. So, last year the Patriots beat them, but they still scored 35 points on the Patriots. And that's Bill Belichick, who then holds the Rams to 3. So this Chiefs offense is definitely dangerous. I just think in the end, the lack of defense and a running game is going to bite them in the ass. And if anybody figures out how to slow down this offense, it'll be Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I agree there 100%.
All right, let's talk about your Dallas Cowboys a little bit. Michael Gallup is set for knee surgery that could keep him out for 2 to 4 weeks. The Cowboys could also be without free safety Xavier Woods for a spell because of a high ankle sprain. How much does this, affect the Cowboys, Anthony?
Well, you're talking about what, the Xavier Woods?
Yeah.
They're going to put Darian Thompson in to play for Woods, and I like Woods a lot. He's really emerging into a quality defensive back. The bigger injury I'm worried about is on the offensive side of the ball, and that's Michael Gallup. He's getting his knee scoped, could miss 2 to 4 weeks.
I know, it's what I just said. Do you not pay attention to anything I say?
I thought you were talking about the Xavier Woods injury.
No, I started off with Michael Gallup, and then I went to Xavier Woods.
Oh, okay.
So, I know the Cowboys worked out Josh Jones, who was a former second-round pick of the Green Bay Packers. what you're saying is they have enough depth defensively. You're just not sure about offensively to cover for
Well,
Gallup.
on the offensive side of the ball, I know Devin Smith. He made that big touchdown catch, and he was a former second-round pick, I believe, of the Jets, an Ohio State receiver, a ton of speed, and he's always dealt with those knee injuries. And he's going to get an opportunity to step up and try to become that second-round pick that never really flourished because of the injuries. So I think they're going to try him out. They still have Randall Cobb. I'm not banking on Tavon Austin. I think Devin Smith is going to have to be the one who steps up. They also have the Dolphins this week.
That always helps. Anytime you have the Dolphins, it helps. Let's look at
Listen, Dolphins, Saints with no Drew Brees, Green Bay Packers, who Dak plays really well against Aaron Rodgers, and then the Jets. I mean, you could be looking at the Dallas Cowboys sitting at, 5-0, 6-0.
Yeah.
Then they got Philly, who Dak, really, I don't know if the Cowboys are going to lose a game this decade.
All right, Skip Bayless Jr. I would say this. The Cowboys will lose one of those games just because they're the Cowboys. And they'll screw it all up for you. Actually, I hope somebody goes undefeated just so the Miami Dolphins can't crack their
I know it sounds Week 12, Cowboys, Patriots, they realistically could be two teams that are undefeated by that point.
Yeah, but they probably won't be because, stuff happens. And with the injuries we've seen, especially in New Orleans, right now the Saints go from most people's top 5 or top 10 to somewhere between 15 and 20. Teddy Bridgewater. There's no way Teddy Bridgewater is the answer in New Orleans, is there?
Listen, I'm not a Teddy Bridgewater guy. People are enamored by him because he had that one nice year in Minnesota before he had the gruesome knee injury. Now he's going to get his chance. I don't think he is all that. And I also don't think the Saints have enough. And on the outside, on the surface, sure, they have Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. But if you take those two players away, they have nothing. Latavius Murray's okay. He's not a starting running back in the league. He's really a change of pace back and a short yardage back. Ted Ginn, Traquan Smith, Jared Cook looks like a bust at tight end, and now you don't have Drew Brees. The defense doesn't look good. The Saints are in trouble, which is why I picked them to miss the playoffs in the preseason.
The defense has really dropped off so far this season. So what do they do at quarterback, do you go? What about Taysom Hill?
I think Hill, because he's already involved with their gadget plays. I think we see a little bit more of Taysom Hill, but it's going to be Bridgewater.
Yeah. Well, I think you've got a better chance of winning with Taysom Hill than you do with Bridgewater.
Is Taysom Hill an NFL quarterback, or is he a gadget player?
Dude, is Teddy Bridgewater an NFL quarterback?
Well.
So what I'm saying by I think they have a better
Bortles
chance.
In the league.
Yeah, he's not an NFL quarterback either. So that answers my question. Also, put it like this. I don't know if Taysom Hill is an NFL quarterback. I know Teddy Bridgewater is not a starting NFL quarterback. And with Taysom Hill, you can do some stuff that at least for a couple games could give teams problems, if you know what I'm saying. With Teddy Bridgewater, people are going to kind of know what they get. With Taysom Hill, you leave some doubt. You can you could draw up something. Because right now what they got to do, if they're going to miss him for 6 weeks? If they're through 6 weeks and they're at 500 and they've got him back healthy, they're fine. But if they've only won one game or no games, their season's over. So that's why I say that Taysom Hill gives them the best chance to be able to tread water right now.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I am legitimately worried about the Saints.
Yeah.
No matter who's that quarterback on that roster.
Yeah. Well, unless it's Drew Brees. If Drew Brees is healthy, Drew Brees is good enough to make it competitive anyways. They've also got J.T. Barrett, don't they?
On their active roster, I don't think so.
I thought they
maybe on their practice squad.
Doesn't matter. He sucks too. Yeah. What about Colin Kaepernick?
Here we go again.
Well, when you're rolling with Teddy Bridgewater, you got to ask. And actually, I'm searching as somebody, I think the other problem the Saints have is this: no matter who they go with, hypothetically, I think the Saints are going to have to strip the playbook down to the foundations and rebuild it anyways because they don't have anybody even remotely like Drew Brees here.
No, not even close. Not
No.
even close.
Well, actually, there's probably only a handful of teams that do, so that's probably unfair. But I just mean the way he plays. I think that's a problem. All right. I just saw some people who were ranking their top 5 teams in the NFL as of right now. Anthony, you ready to give me your top 5?
Um, I think so.
All right. Let's start off. You give your number 5. I'll give my number 5.
Why don't you go first?
Why
Let
don't
me
I
pull
go
mine up.
first?
I got to pull mine up.
I got to pull mine up too. That's why I was going to let you go first. But I just wrote the article today, so I should remember what it was, but I'm not 100% sure. All right, and Sam Teets, his NFL quarterback power rankings after week 2 will be out tomorrow. We'll discuss, dissect, and tell Sam how messed up his list is. How about that tomorrow?
Sure.
All right, my number 5. Is there a drum roll here?
Not unless you have a sound drop for it.
Nah, I probably do. My number 5 is the San Francisco 49ers.
Wow.
Well, all I know is this. When I look at the San Francisco 49ers, I see a team that has pretty much everything you need to be successful and to win in the NFL. I think their pass rush is very good. I think they're a very underrated team, and if anybody's listened to me, I picked them to go to the NFC Championship game at the start of the season. I'm going to stick with it. I think that, especially when they're healthy, they've got 3 stud running backs. I think because Matt Breida is a damn good running back. And Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, gets better as the season goes on. I think Kyle Shanahan, I don't think that he's the greatest head coach in the world, but I think he is a very innovative offensive coach. So I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers at number 5.
I don't hate it, but I think there are better teams out there right now. And my number 5 is the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, geez. The Packers are
I'm
nowhere
very
near
high on
as
the
good
Green
as
Bay
the 49ers.
Packers.
Come on.
Packers defense so far has been their strength through 2 games. This offense really hasn't clicked the way it will click as the season goes on. Aaron Rodgers, as great as he is, he's still learning Matt LaFleur's system. They're still learning how to coexist. If this defense keeps playing the way it is, and when this offense starts to play like an Aaron Rodgers offense, watch out. I said it in the preseason with our picks. I see Dallas and Green Bay in the NFC Championship
So right
game.
now you think Green Bay is a more complete team than the 49ers?
Absolutely.
You're crazy. Better offensive line, 49ers. Better running backs,
No, Joe
49ers.
Staley. Joe Staley's out for a while.
Doesn't matter. The 49ers have done something my Bengals didn't do, which was load up on offensive linemen. And the Packers' offensive line, I don't think is as good even without Joe Staley. And I think the 49ers have a better pass rush, and I think that they're better in the secondary. So, who you got at number 4?
My number 4 is the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, you're nuts.
So far, so good with Lamar Jackson, that offense. I was skeptical in the offseason with all of Baltimore's defensive losses and their front 7. They lost Eric Weddle. They bring in Earl Thomas, who's a big upgrade to me at safety over Eric Weddle, who's kind of at the end of his career. I think the Ravens are a complete team. They beat 2 teams that they should have beaten. The test is coming this week with the New York City Chiefs.
They barely beat the Cardinals. I don't see how the Baltimore Ravens can get into the top 5 with the competition they've beaten. I
But
don't see
how
the
they
complete
win?
team either.
What about how you win? Doesn't that matter?
Well, they barely beat the Cardinals.
And they dismantled Miami.
Who doesn't? My biggest question is that their defense is
They
so
beat
good. How
Miami
did Miami score?
worse than New England.
No, they didn't. I think it's
59.
I think nothing. 43-0. Miami got no points against New England. They put up 10 against Baltimore. I think the Ravens are probably going to win the AFC North. I think they're a top 10 team right now, but I think to put them up there with San Francisco or ahead of San Francisco, you'd have them a few spots ahead of San Francisco is crazy. Jimmy Garoppolo's a better quarterback. They've got better running backs. They've got a better offensive line, even without Joe Staley, because Baltimore, their issues the last 3 or 4 years has been at offensive line. It's not like the Cardinals and the Dolphins have great defensive lines to test them, and neither does Kansas City. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to buy Lamar Jackson yet, and I'm not one of those guys that thought he would be a bust starting off. I thought there was a chance he could be good, and I think from what you see now, all indications are he may be. I just think putting Baltimore up here, this is something Stephen A. Jackson would do. And I say that because I watched Stephen A. Jackson do it today. My number 4 are the Los Angeles Rams. I think the defense is very good. I think winning a Super Bowl hinges on how much Jared Goff can improve during the season. So I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams at number 4. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs at number 3. And really, I wanted to drop them to 4 and put the Rams ahead of them. But Jared Goff kind of scares me. So I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes here. The lack of a defense is why I don't think they touch either one of my top 2 teams, Anthony.
I don't even have the Rams in my top 5. Spoiler alert. I think the Rams, they don't look like the same team as they did last year. I don't know if it's Gurley. I don't know if it's Cooper Kupp's, still getting reacclimated to the offense coming off the knee injury. Jared Goff has looked pedestrian, and not just his last 2 starts this year, but he's looked pedestrian, since November, December.
Got hurt.
So that worries me. Aaron Donald got banged up in last week's win against the Saints. I don't know. The Rams are my number 6. But I'm worried. I'm legitimately worried about the Los Angeles Rams. I know you're buying into the San Francisco 49ers. They're young. I need to see it a few more times before I fully commit. And then there's also Jimmy Garoppolo. He doesn't look like he should look to me right now. The 49ers are winning with their running game. Jimmy Garoppolo needs to get better.
He will.
He turns the ball over.
Remember,
he turns the ball over too much.
You had the injury, and his history is not turning the ball over too much. So I think it's more of a timing. I think he'll be fine. At least I hope he am, since I put a futures bet at 75-1 odds on him to win the Super Bowl. Who you got at number 3, Anthony?
Number 3, I have my Cowboys.
Oh, that's nuts. The Cowboys are better than that.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit. They're still. I still have them in my top 3. The injuries are going to hurt them a little bit, but with their schedule so soft until New England, that's the only game in Week 12 that really scares me. I think they should be able to overcome the injuries. They need some of their younger players to step up. The defense is all there, especially their front 7, especially their linebackers. And this offense is playing well, and Zeke hasn't even gotten going yet.
All right, who you got at number 2?
I have Kansas City.
Man, see, I've got Dallas at number 2, and I think the difference is this. Kansas City is nowhere near a complete team. The Dallas Cowboys are. Now, I will give you the Cowboys haven't beaten anybody yet, but neither have the Chiefs.
So you like? I can't. I don't want to argue with that because I'm a Cowboys fan.
I'm just saying.
Patrick Mahomes is the best in football right now.
I'll take that.
And as long as until somebody slows him down, I can't not put him or put the Chiefs in my top 2 in power rankings. I just can't.
I think this 3 or 4 years from now, everybody will realize Dak Prescott is better than Patrick Mahomes. I think Mahomes is not great throwing a short ball. I think he throws a deep ball great. They put the weapons there for him to throw it, so he can't overthrow them like he did in college. And I think he puts it up. They go and get it. I like Dak Prescott. I think he's more consistent. I think he's less apt in a big situation to make a mistake. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I guess we both agree with the Patriots at number 1.
Yes, oh, absolutely. It's not even close.
So you're going to let me get away with that Dak Prescott 4 years from now be considered better than Patrick Mahomes?
I hope you're right.
I am.
I hope you're right.
Well, I figured you'd hope that since you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. Anything else we want to bring up before we wrap it up?
No, I think we covered all the top news and rumors of the day.
All right, guys. Me and Anthony will be back tomorrow. We will look at ranking all 32 quarterbacks. You can find Sam Teeth's article tomorrow morning on thegruelingtruth.com, where we will talk about that. Maybe I'll see if we can get Sam on the horn, as they used to call it back in the day, to see if he wants to give his opinion, because I'm sure we'll argue with him. And the good thing is this. I already know what the rankings are, and Anthony doesn't. And last week, I completely disagreed with almost everything that was there. I can tell you this, though. He does have Patrick Mahomes at number 1. Ooh.
Over New England. Wow.
Yeah, over Tom Brady. And, oh, this is nuts. He's got Phillip Rivers at number 5. Carson Wentz at 6. Matt Ryan at 7. Deshaun Watson at 8. Get this, Dak Prescott 9th.
When will people learn?
I don't know, but we need to have him on so he can explain this to us. We really do. Jared Goff at 11. Yeah, this is a little crazy. Kyler Murray at 16. I'd take Kyler Murray over Jared Goff right now. Is that crazy?
Absolutely crazy.
Why? Jared Goff hasn't ever done anything except hand the ball off to Todd Gurley and choke like a bitch in the Super Bowl.
Oof.
Cam Newton at number 20. In what world would he be in the top 30? All right. We're going to wrap it up. I don't want to give too much away. Make sure you go check out Sam Teach's top quarterback ratings. All quarterbacks that played this weekend, Sam rates them all. You can check us out tomorrow where we'll talk about it. We'll see if we can get Sam on the line to talk about it. Anthony, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at The Real NFL Guru, and you can find my show at the FF Face Off, and wherever you can get a podcast, and we live stream on YouTube as well.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Remember to follow us on The Grueling Truth at Grueling Truth. You can hear all of our shows pretty much wherever you find podcasts, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and everybody else. So we're going to wrap it up for today. Make sure you come back and check out the NFL show with myself and Anthony tomorrow at noon. So, for Anthony Cervino, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.